another episode of the Back Bar Podcast. I love it how every time we start an intro, Minnie just starts smiling. He's just so pity.
It's just you because you're oh my god, well, hey guys. Like,
and how are we today?
Exactly how I imagine, like, I don't know any radio presenters anymore. Like, Tony Blackburn, is he still the guy that does this? That's how he does it. It's like, I told you, you're a fucking idiot. Hey, Tony Blackburn here.
We got all the hits, all the classics. They're coming your way. So anyway, from a streamlined Back Bar Podcast, not streamlined because we dropped someone, more streamlined because we now have streamlined haircuts. So to open up, I want to say a big, massive, huge thank you to everybody that donated to the shave. What did we call it again? The big shave, the big
Brave the shave.
Brave the shave. Thank you, Gemmell.
You're welcome.
So yes, thank you very much to everybody. I think the grand total was just under 4K or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, just under 4K. I think with if you include gift aid, we were about 4.5K.
That's amazing, especially since we actually started off at a lot lower total that we thought we were going to get. So no, first of all, big thank you. It's going to a great cause and supporting a lot of people that need it. But and also as well, waking up in the morning, just been like rushing my head through it. Dynamite, you know. So
also, I look hard as nails.
Until you start talking.
It's when I'm out with Sam and I stand at the top of the stairs and I've got a shaved head and scowl, and then they see me walking like
racing people across the street like that. What's that Ned doing?
Why is that Ned listen to One Direction?
Oh no, what's the other one? The girls are like, it's just a love machine.
Oh, it's a great tune. Anyway, that's not what I listen to angry music.
Blue aren't angry music.
Anyway, welcome to everybody. How's it? Oh yeah, so we're joined by the same three handsome men. We've got Marcel Skywalker, Martin Minnie James, and Johnny with no red hair. Gemmell.
Little bit.
Yeah, it's growing back. We all look like tennis balls right now. I don't know if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and look at us right there. But yeah, you've got two tennis balls looking at you right now. So.
I'm more edging towards a kiwi fruit at the moment.
Yes, you're so funny. You've got a good hairline, by the way.
It's a very strong hairline.
Solid hairline.
You see how long it lasts. Like.
He's got about 4 or 5 years on us, though.
That's true.
Don't age me up, man. Like.
That's kind of general. Was his birthday? And a big Back Bar birthday as well this week. So you know, congratulations to you. So.
Yeah, just the first year of my 20s, man. Looking forward to seeing what it brings.
Did someone blow your candles out?
I guess 20 stone maybe. Like no, there was no candle to be blown.
What a difference from the 30s to the 20s, you know?
I was just looking forward to a nice book and a mug of Ovaltine. That was my...
What would you like for your birthday? A bath bomb. I want lots of bath bombs.
Do you know what I actually did get as one of my presents was a pair of boxers? I was delighted, man. I was like, these are the best boxers in the world.
Is that those step one you always go
honestly, it's like it's a dream. Like my thighs glide, man. Like there's never any chafage. It's everything.
Is that why you're enjoying your running so much?
I don't wear them running. I've got special running pants.
Do you just lie on the floor and just do fake scissor kicks?
I do. Everyone's wondering why I jump about when I'm on meetings at work, and it's because I'm sitting here. Can you hear that? Silent, whisper quiet. These boxers, man.
Excellent work. So it looks like nothing's changed. We have a guest tonight, do we not? I believe we do. Yeah.
Of course we do, my son.
Always. So tonight we have a lad with a very impressive rugby CV. But before he went on to do his rugby career, the research found out that he actually got a Bachelor's of Engineering degree in Mechanical Engineering. So he's got the brains to go with the beauty, you know what I'm saying?
I like how we see the research as like there's this machine that does it for us. You know, like, we don't get research to sort that with our own department that just goes and works all this out for us.
It's like our version of intelligence from Team America.
That's it. Yeah.
Intelligence.
We got Jarvis on the case. He went and cracked it for us.
I know.
So anyway, who is it?
Oh yes. So yeah. I thought you all
Ooh,
knew.
mystery.
Did you not guess? So he has played rugby for both Edinburgh and Glasgow. He's gone through the age groups, resulting in a full cap for Scotland. I think he got a few caps for Scotland, but found his niche playing the rugby sevens, going around the professional rugby sevens circuit. So yes, we are talking about Lee Jones.
Oh, there we go.
What a life that is, man.
I know. I'm not jealous at all. So,
He doesn't get excited about a pair of fucking boxes for his birthday.
We'll just see. He said instead of sending him a bottle of whiskey, we'll just send him a nice pair of boxes. It's not creepy. Maybe one with a back bar face or back bar.
Are you asking for one of my collection, or are we buying a new one?
Oh yes. Now
okay, we'll buy a new one.
I think Ali, that would be creepy even for you, mate.
Aye,
No,
that's it.
that's it. He's on the right side of Hampson. He's probably a little bit short for me, but I can make it work.
When he receives the boxers as a second pair and a self-addressed envelope.
Yeah.
With some perfume sprayed in it.
Feel free to send these back whenever you want.
Yeah, with you in them.
That's crazy.
This has gone down the lines of the Jacko chat now.
Yeah, you rein that in, man.
Jacko's getting old now, and he's got kids now as well. It's kind of off-putting. I don't really believe that everybody else's kids.
29 episodes later before you got the second restraining order.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, he's getting serious now. You know,
is he still doing this podcast fucking thing? Don't talk about me in that bad.
Still talking about the posters here on my wall. So.
Oh, I meant to say to you guys, right, I had a really awkward moment last night. So obviously I was out for dinner for my birthday, and it's only after this happened that I realised how weird this must be, right? I bumped into a guy I went to primary school with, right, that I've not seen, without giving away my age, a long time, like a couple of decades at least. And you know what I mean? I was like, all right, mate. And I didn't really have anything to say, because I was like, what am I going to ask this guy? I was like, are you still into colouring in? Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, what am I going to say? Do you still see the Janny? Like, I've actually had no chat with the guy, man.
Still do hand paintings? Or...
Aye, you were right good with the Crayolas, mate. Like, so I just done the, all right, mate, and then just was like, I'm going to pretend he's not over there, because I can't deal with another. So I had to wait to see, because if I was going for a pee and he was going for a pee, I'd have to ask him more questions about like gin reading books. Remember them? So I was like, right, I need to it was really awkward, man. So
you can't start off with what you've been up to as well, and then he starts giving you his life story.
Mate,
this is not what I'm after.
Did you finish all those Topsy and Tim books, or how'd you go over there?
I'm still looking for Where's Wally. Yeah.
Did you ever find them?
Honestly, I was like, what do you? I think there should be a rule that, see, if it's gone by a certain amount of years, you just pretend you don't know them.
I'm thinking that's going to be at least a week. If I haven't seen you in a week, I don't care. If I've not spoken to you within 7 days, it's iffy. Yeah.
That's the thing. What do you feel like? Oh, what have you been up to? It's like, mate, it's been 25 years. Loads, man. Like,
I can't believe who recognised who? Did you recognise him?
I'm still the same height, so I think that's what gave it away.
Tall
ass toddler.
I think I've still got the same amount of facial hair as well, to be honest. So I think
I honestly, I swear to God, I couldn't. I can't even try to remember anybody from primary school. I don't think if someone walked by me, they punched me in the face, and I'd be like, no idea. That stranger just
narrow it down to the amount of people that would do that.
You went to a very aggressive primary school.
Yeah, it was in Africa.
Home of the shit pits.
Yeah. Now let's just be clear that wasn't at my school. We had proper sanitation at my school. So.
Aye, okay, mate.
Of course you did turn around.
Man, Gemo, who's your mate?
We shit in the proper toilet. Anyway, so that was interesting story there, Martin. I don't really think I'd even recognise people from high school, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, with you. Okay, we're moving on.
Fair play.
So, let's. In fact, I knew you from high school, Gilmore. I recognise you.
Yay!
Even though it was different high schools, but we were still at the same time, same ages.
Rugby team school buddies.
For the fourth time, let's move on.
Yeah, moving on.
Yes. So shall we bring Mr. Jones? Shall we bring him on?
Let's
Tom
do it.
Jones, let's get him on. Get him on.
All right, let's bring on Jonesy. So, a big welcome to the man with the speed and the eyes for the tries, the Scottish professional rugby player. Welcome, Mr. Lee Jones. How are you, sir?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me. Good to see you, boys.
Thanks for joining us.
I stole that line. Apparently, there's when I was doing some research, it was man with speed and the eyes for the tries when they were describing your rugby sevens career. So I will say that is, I don't know if it's patented, but I stole it. So just
I'd never heard that before. So
To be honest, you're lucky he's only in one glass of wine because you've got to be the eyes for the thighs. A fancy for the boys. So
Yeah. Actually, I don't know whether Jacko might have warned you about Ali from his experience with us.
yeah, no prior warning. I'm coming in with fresh eyes.
Yeah. It's good to know. So, you'll be coming in with a restraining order tomorrow. So, no, thanks very much for coming along. It was, I think Martin and John there are going to throw some questions your way. So,
yeah, a fair bit to cover.
Yeah, let's get cracking into it. So I guess obviously Ali's saying about your rugby career there, but when you started off at Edinburgh, you were actually combining that with studying for a mechanical engineering degree. Was that just a kind of a backup plan in case you either didn't like rugby or didn't quite go to plan, or what was it like trying to balance that out?
To be honest, for me, the rugby almost came secondary. Like, I'd played rugby growing up. Like, I kind of had the aspiration to play professional rugby, to play for Scotland, if you will, like growing up. But at the time, I'd played some age grade stuff, under 18s, under 19s, and 20s and stuff, but never kind of got picked up into any of what were the academy systems at the time. So
Right.
I continued. I played for my local club, which is Selkirk. So I was playing down there, finished school, and was like, right, we'll go to university to study, and then keep playing for Selkirk, keep playing rugby, keep training, and if anything comes along, something comes along. So it was kind of, I guess, uni kind of came first. So and rugby kind of for me came along at the right time. Like, I think I was in my third year, and that's when Stevie Gemmell got in touch to play a bit of sevens with Scotland, which at the time, compared to what Scotland sevens looks like now, back then they were just kind of pulling in players. They had a couple of full-time guys. They were pulling guys in. Like, there wasn't as much of a structure.
Mm-hmm.
So me coming in, I had an opportunity as a student coming in, having played a lot of sevens, some invitational stuff, and a lot of sevens back home. Got an opportunity to play for Scotland while I was still at university. So I kind of balanced that for a year. I ended up doing a year in the circuit while I was still at university, and it was a bit like, I was a bit tough at times. Like, it was more just hard trying to convince like my mechanical engineering lecturers that I wanted to go away and play rugby for 2 weeks, and they're like, what? Like,
That's a tough conversation, that, isn't it? It's like, listen, I can't come because I'm actually in Vegas or I'm in Hong Kong, like, gearing up. Like,
I'm sure that must have been terrible for you with the ladies as well. It must have been so detrimental to your career.
Well, I found a wife through sevens, so it actually worked out all right.
There you go.
But no, that was, I kind of worked out that way, and then I got offered off the back of doing that year in the sevens, got offered a contract with Edinburgh, and then had to convince the university to split my final year of studies over 2 years, right. Which initially they were like, well, that's surely a huge advantage over anyone else that's studying. I was trying to explain to them, but I'll be doing this other thing full time. So, and got loads of help through the kind of scholarship program at Heriot Watt. A guy, Ross Campbell, there helped me out massively. And we sorted it all out, and I managed to do my first year, get the end of my university studies finished, and then kind of once the rugby came around, it was almost like a bit like, right, well, let's let's go full on at the rugby. And you know, I'd graduated, my degree was there, but I was like, right, let's kick on with the rugby and see where this can go, sort of thing. So it's probably a wee bit different to a lot of the guys kind of coming in, and grateful to kind of, Rob Moffat was the Edinburgh coach at the time, and he kind of he brought in a few guys from club rugby, and I probably benefited from playing for Selkirk 4 seasons there as well, just getting rugby under my belt, sort of thing. So I think it probably benefited me in the long term.
No, that's cool. I think one of the things you mentioned there was the setup for sevens was maybe not as professional and structured as it is now. And you've obviously been on the circuit for a fair amount of time now. So how have you dealt with the transition between what it was then and the more kind of professional setup that it is now?
Yeah, like for me back then, it was kind of like totally new to me. Like I'd been in and out of kind of age grade stuff, but it was like, even though I say it wasn't really like as structured and stuff, it was still a professional environment. And for me, going in as a young guy then, it was like, right, this is totally different. So, and I think, and then like throughout playing 15s as well, I was kind of back to sevens, back into 15s, and I think that really benefited my game on the whole. And I loved the like having the ability to do that. Like if I wasn't, you know, back then, if I wasn't getting game time for Edinburgh, say, then I could go and play sevens and just get an opportunity to play rugby. And it's kind of, for me now, it's kind of come full circle, and I've ended up back playing sevens this year and absolutely loved it. So it's a bit different for me now than what it was. We're talking like, what were we talking, like 12 years ago now? But like I love the game, and it's awesome.
Yeah, because it's got way more specialised now. Like you were saying, it used to be like guys from the Glasgow and Edinburgh squads who just get roped in every now and then, whereas it seems to have a kind of a core group of sevens. Does that get more difficult when you're jumping between 15s and sevens, or?
I think I've been lucky in that. I guess I've maybe done it fairly consistently. Like I've never been away from it for too long. It might be more difficult for guys now, but I think like looking at the way the sevens program works, you have kind of a mixture of guys. Like you've got guys in there that are, you know, they're probably, they would say themselves are sevens players. That's what they love to do. That's what they're good at. And then on the other hand, you've got maybe young guys that are developing that want to kick on and play 15s. You know, so there's a wee mix there of guys that are potentially mainstay in a sevens squad, but you've also got guys like the number of guys that have kind of come through the sevens program maybe a couple of years, and then out the back of it have kicked on and done really well and played for Scotland, you know. So it's I think it's a great development tool for, you know, Scottish rugby, and especially when we've only got the 2 pro teams.
So you've managed on the circuit. You've seen a lot of cool places over your time. Is there one place that stands out for you on the sevens tour that's been either somewhere you go, this is going to be a good time, or it's been a really successful place for you?
I think I kind of always go back to like Hong Kong is just unbelievable. Like for a few reasons, probably like the stadium is just like unbelievable, and it's generally always full, which, you know, you generally get good crowds on the Seventh Circuit anyway, but like Hong Kong is always just like class stadium, the setting, it's full. You've got the stand at the what do you call it? South stand at the far end. It's just like full of folk, like fancy dress, that sort of vibe. And then I think just the history of the tournament as well, like that's almost, it's kind of like got the most history behind it. And I think you really you can kind of feel that when you're there and when you're playing. There's just a kind of lot of respect for Hong Kong as a tournament.
The Hong Kong, the list of places I want to go and see. Well, I've done a few, but I'd like to definitely go over there.
100% recommend.
What's the after party like at the Hong Kong Sevens then? I can imagine that's a pretty good time.
It would always depend on, like, we'd maybe get out for a few beers. If it was like, depends if the tournament's in your first week. So you generally 2 tournaments together and you'd go, and throughout the past however long, 10 years, it's kind of switched around a bit. But if you managed to get a few beers at the end, it would always be good in Hong Kong. The guys would go down to Wang Chai, I think it's called, and it's a cool place. It's a cool place. There was a couple of occasions. There was one, I think we flew back, and there was a group of us had gone out from Glasgow, and we were back on we'd played the tournament. We were back on a flight at like 3 a.m. to get back to Glasgow, to then go in like. So it's not always as glamorous as you might think. I'll get to hang about and have beers and that, but no, it was always a memorable one in Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's just when you're saying about that travel, it reminds me of one of the lads you'll know, Chris Kinloch.
Yeah.
When he was with Glasgow, and he flew out in the Sevens Tour to I think it was maybe the Sydney leg or something like that.
Yeah.
And he literally just landed and got a message relayed to him that actually we need you to come back. You're on the bench for Glasgow at the weekend. Flew back, and the game, I think it was over in Ireland. It was either like Ulster or something. It was like winter time. And he went over, sat on the bench for the 80 minutes in the piss and wind and rain.
Oh my god, man!
That was it.
I remember.
A horrific story, man.
I would be so raging.
And there's nothing you can do, because it happened to me in a way as well. When I was with Edinburgh, and then I was playing sevens, and we were in Wellington, and it got to the Thursday night in Wellington, and they said, right, we think you might need to go back and play for Glasgow this weekend. And I was like, so I'm an Edinburgh player at the time, and I was like, play for Glasgow? Like, what? And they were like, no, I think you're gonna. And I was like, nah, surely I've just prepped for this tournament. Like, we're playing in 2 days, and it turned out, I had to fly back, so I left on like that the Thursday or the Friday, and went back. Ended up playing for Glasgow on the Sunday, and that was my first game for Glasgow. And I never. That was like almost. Do you know what? It was almost a blessing in disguise, because I was struggling for game time and stuff at Edinburgh at the time,
right.
And I went out to play sevens to get some rugby, and then ended up flew back, played for Glasgow on the Sunday, and then I was with Glasgow the rest of the season, and essentially for the next 7 years or so. So.
A worthwhile trip then. That's
Yeah.
funny to fly back first game on the Sunday for that run around the pitch, being like bumping into people at the bottom of a rugby, like, I'm Lee, by the way, nice to meet you.
That was it. Like jet lag protocols out the window, like the sun. Do you know what I like?
Just Red Bull, there you go.
Did they at least give you business class?
Nah, I don't think so.
Economy. Oh.
I've got short legs. I can't complain too much. But, no, it does. It kind of shows you as well that you can just kind of, when the circumstances are there, you can just kind of get on with it as much as you like. That so much will go into this jet lag strategy, and you have to do this, and this. Like, when it comes down to it, I managed to get back and play a game of rugby on the Sunday, and it was. You
must have slept that night, like after that.
I was a young guy back then. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I think I could do it now.
Jeez, I struggle if I'm on a flight from Cardiff for 2 days. I just like the time zones.
You went backwards. You went the complete opposite way.
I took a long way home.
And then alcohol doesn't help either.
That's true.
If that's in the mix.
Don't know what you're trying to imply about me and what you might be up to.
I was pissed in Cardiff again. Well, that's what he's absolutely right.
That was before Rob gave you one of those slow release caffeine pills.
He didn't give me anything. It was just me giving him coffee and cakes that I stole at the Hilton. So, that's cool. So you mentioned there just about coming back and playing for Glasgow. So what prompted the move? Because obviously you started off in Edinburgh. What prompted the move through over to Glasgow?
I'll be honest, at the time it didn't have a lot to do with me. It was essentially the way the contracts work. Like, you're contracted to the SRU, and I think Alan Solomons had come in at the time. I wasn't playing a lot for Edinburgh, and my contract was up at the end of that season. So the decision was kind of out of my hands, but it was kind of taken, like, Gregor was keen to have a look at me at Glasgow, and it just kind of all worked out that way, and it happened like that. Like I say, it was within 2 days we were on a flight, you're back, and I was at Glasgow for the rest of the season. But then, you know, and at the time, because of the way it was, and I was an Edinburgh player, even though I wasn't playing for Edinburgh, I was still like, do you know there's the big rivalry, Edinburgh and Glasgow? I'm like, can't I just go to Glasgow? Like, I was a young guy as well. I'm thinking in my head, I was like, what are the boys going to think? Like, what are the Glasgow boys going to think when I turn up? And, you know, we've already maybe played an 1872 Cup game against them. And then, but you know what? It was like, in hindsight, it was the best thing that could have happened. And the guys were brilliant. And it was probably just that way. I'm thinking like, how's this going to work out? But it was awesome. Like, and kind of, like I say, blessing in disguise, and kind of never really looked back.
Weren't at the start of it wearing an Edinburgh t-shirt under your Glasgow jersey or anything? No.
I don't remember. There's a couple of us went through that season. It wasn't. Do you know, like in the past wee while, there's a lot of players have jumped in between, and it became more like an acceptable thing to be like, oh, we're just, these two players are moving down the M8 sort of thing. But there wasn't many before that. I remember there was a couple of us. Who else? Jeff Cross had went through that time. Remember Jeff Cross? He was in a similar boat, and so when I came back to Glasgow, we were travelling through, still living in Edinburgh, and I think it was maybe a day of like turned up where one of the boys had like an Edinburgh gum shield in, and one of the boys had noticed it, you know, or like you've chucked on a pair of shorts, a black pair of shorts, and it's got like the old Edinburgh badge on it, and you're like, not a good play. No. But it was all just a bit of fun. Yeah.
What was the decision then after going to Glasgow because obviously for a while you were much more focused on the sevens? Was that a steer from the kind of the coaches, or was that more your decision to give that bit more of a push?
So what happened? I was still under contract the rest of that season, spent it at Glasgow, and then off the back of that, if I remember, I signed a year, and that was a year's contract that was split between sevens and 15s. So The understanding there was I'd train the majority of the time at Scotstoun with Glasgow, and then you know, if and when go and play sevens, which worked out great because it meant I was always getting rugby, you know, regardless of what was happening at Glasgow. So that season was, if I wasn't playing for Glasgow, and I played a good handful of games then, if not, I was able to play sevens. And I think like that, from going from, you know, really at times struggling for game time at Edinburgh, having played a lot in the past, that was great because I was just able to play rugby, which I think for guys, especially when you're a bit younger and earlier on in career, you just got to be playing. And sevens was good for me in terms of whenever I went away to play sevens, if I came back, I'd always feel, as much as you're knackered from a 12-hour flight or something, I'd always go back into training and feel sharp and feel, just having been training and playing sevens, you go back and you feel good in terms of 15s context as well.
It's like competition. When you're competition sharp, it's the same as what anybody says. You know, if you're playing any form of competition, competitive, you know, you're going to be sharp. You know, mistakes are going to cost you. So, yeah, you're probably better than just a kind of, sometimes training you can be a bit lackadaisical and stuff. So no, that's
100%. Like there's a guy just recently in the Commonwealth Games, Jake Henry, that's aligned with Edinburgh. He made the decision to come in and play Commonwealth Games, and then I said to him, I was like, look, it'll be the best thing you do. You'll go back, because he's now gone back to a pre-season with Edinburgh, and I'm saying to him, like, it'll be the best. You'll go back, you'll be arguably the fittest you've been, you'll be sharp. So he's going into a pre-season now, and by all accounts, he's doing really well in the first couple of weeks. And so for a young guy like that, that's awesome. It's a good tool.
Must be some transition though, going from being one of the young guys to now being one of the older heads in that squad, giving advice to the young guns coming up.
Yeah, like it's funny. Some like I'm looking around now. There's a few older boys in the squad, but like especially in sevens, like 19-year-old, 20-year-old guys, and like there's a big old gap there. You're like some references. I'll say something, and it just goes over boys' heads, and I'm
still young. I'm still young.
Our first trip on the sevens this year. Said to one of the guys, so he was 20, right? And Meatloaf died. It was back in January.
Yep.
I was like, so I've woken up, seen it. I was like, and I was rooming with him, and I was like, oh, see, Meatloaf died last night. He was like, who? I was like, Meatloaf. He's like, who the fuck is Meatloaf? I was like, come on. I was like, surely. And he was like, nah. He was like, not a clue.
Is that when you go, let me get my record player out and you can listen to this guy?
There's a good bit of banter, like
pulls a couple of vinyls out the case. But I've got this, boys.
It's like on a daily basis. I'm the old guy, but it's just it changes fast within a short space of time. It's like that, and you're like, right, I'm now pretty old in comparison to a lot of these young boys.
They'll all be throwing out names of TikTok influencers. You'll be like, what TikTok. The fuck?
I said when Scottish Rugby got the sponsorship deal with TikTok, and I was like, right, that's me retired, boys. I'm gone. There's a lot of TikTok chat, but I'm probably glad to be out of that.
Yeah, I mean, see, to be honest, I'm beyond all that stuff as well. I remember that Snapchat came out, right? And I was like, I'm going to download this thing. And I was about maybe 18 months after it came out, and I finally got it. I was like, I don't really know what to take a picture of. We've got nothing interesting, so I just deleted it again. I was like, you got Snapchat, mate? I thought, I got plenty of snaps. Loads of chats, all that.
Have any of you got TikTok? Have you ever made a TikTok?
No.
Me neither. Some of the things, you like these World Rugby Sevens things now, there's like they do media days and stuff, and it's like the boys have to do a TikTok dance. So that I'm just like, there's no way I'm going along to do that thing. Like send the young boys, like that's I flat out refuse.
Jeez, man, nice.
Change times.
It certainly has.
Talking.
Sorry, just to interrupt. Do you see this thing with TikTok with people like suffocating themselves and stuff like that? It's like it's gone weird. It's not just dancing. Minnie's eyes light up.
But that's not a thing. Like,
it's apparently you're meant to like choke yourself or like somehow like suffocate yourself and then pass out and like video yourself doing it, and then you wake up and you'll be like, oh, where am I? But people have died for it. There was that boy that was it Archie something that was on the life support. That's what he had done. He like choked himself out and then went brain dead. That was the whole thing. But
I thought it was just that we dafties doing dances, no?
Well, that's what I thought it was as well. Until because I was like, what's all this thing about this? What was his name? Archie something.
I know the one you mean.
Yeah, so that's what it is. Apparently, he was doing a TikTok trend, whatever it is, and it was about asphyxiating yourself, and then waking up, and that was meant to be the whole thing. I was like,
fuck that. No, listen, we need to take this back to the days of Bebo when you had a top 16, gave each other love. There was no hassle. You didn't see any drama then. Like that was just a good laugh.
You got to draw wee pictures on each other's walls and stuff like that.
And if you're on tour, play a game of cards or something.
Exactly. This is the other thing is the cards.
They put a plastic bag on your head, man.
I know. There's some card maker going like that with stacks of cards. Like, there's nobody playing fucking cards anymore.
It's like, guys, please get his cards out again. Just anyone want to play Go Fish, guys? Come on. Yeah.
Oh man! Talking of your roommate who didn't know who Meatloaf was, shame on whoever that was. But I mean, you've done I think it's over 80 tournaments on the Sevens circuit. Have there been any roommates who've either stood out as being like a class roommate to have, or someone who's just had the worst habit that you couldn't wait for that weekend to end and get yourself back home? I'm more interested in the latter, by the way.
Bad roomie.
Throw someone under the bus.
Do you know, like my wee Meatloaf mate? He actually, I thought we had a good time in Malaga, and we were on the bus we went to Seville next, and they'd said, right, we want you to rate all the boys in the squad in terms of like roomies. They'd already made the roomie decision, but they just did it for a laugh. They were like, and you need to stand up on the bus and present like who's like top tier roomie, who's like mid tier roomie, and who's low tier. So I'm like, oh, like we had a good time. Like Finn, surely. Oh, well, there's his name. I'm like, oh, surely I'm in here. Like, I'll be top tier. Like, I've had a good week. Like, and so he's reading all the boys out, and I'm in the bottom tier. Like, I'm like, Finn, are you joking, mate? I'm like, I thought we had a good time, and he was like, aye, I know, but I was like, right, that's fine.
You wouldn't video me choking myself out.
Exactly. There's not enough TikTok. He's like gone in there and he's been like, I'll keep you up to date on social media and that. I'm like, hey, I'll keep you right on the content, right? But no, that got me by surprise. I reckon I'm quite an easy roommate to get along with. Bad ones in the past. What's that? Sorry.
Was he just looking for someone a little bit more mental? Were you two like kind of right bedtime? And he's like, I don't want to go to my bed.
Yeah, that guy keeps talking about beef loaves in there, man.
I'm like, I need to get 9 hours sleep, mate. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to move tomorrow. But nah, bad ones. There always used to be a couple of snorers on sevens that they used to.
That's the worst. I hate snorers. Anyone guilty here? Anyone guilty?
I'm bad for that.
No, Minnie is the worst snorer, and the problem is you don't even get a millisecond to try and beat him to sleep. We're up in Edinburgh seeing a friend, and we're sharing a tent together, so it's cozy, and to say the least. And we go in and like, right, night, mate, good night, giving old brother love, and it's getting more easy now. That's only when you fell asleep. Anyway, but so I was like, right, night, mate. So I just put my head back on the pillow, and the next thing. I was like, no way are you asleep already. I was like, you're winding me up, stop it. But that was him gone until about 9 o'clock the next morning. Honestly, it was horrific.
It's fine when you've got a clear conscience, you sleep well, Ali. So
you gotta give it a little.
I swear to God.
To be fair, I would have put Minnie as the worst. But after our weekend, we had the group of us had a weekend up at Loch Tay about a month or so ago.
Yeah.
And I was getting up between 3 and 6 a.m. on the Saturday morning. I was back and forth to spew. So I was hearing all the snorers. And Dangerous Dave was comfortable. Because I was sharing the room with you, Minnie, and you were actually fine that night, very surprisingly. But Dave, you could hear him about the other end of the corridor.
I thought someone had put a dishwasher in our room. I could just hear this rattling, and it was actually he was in another room snoring. But I mean, enough slagging our pals. Who's the best for the sevens crowd?
I don't know if there's many snorers at the moment. James Fleming, if you remember him, he used to be in the notorious boys. Would always try and dodge him. I think in terms of worst roomies for me, not on sevens, but I've had a couple of like naked roomies before that just want to be naked all the time. That was way back. I think my first roomie back. I'll not name names, but a couple of roomies way back when I was young. Just fully naked.
So like your first game for Glasgow.
Edinburgh back in the day. Yeah, like that's antisocial, isn't it?
It's like where do I look? Like
probably worse than snoring. Like I'm always quite conscious of my roommate. I'm like, like everybody, like we'll have a good time.
Maybe that's why he got naked. He was like, "So you're going to have a good time."
Well, maybe he's into that. That was always a bit of a red flag for me. For me anyway.
That's like when you're in the kind of David Lloyd gym or something like that. And you get the old boys who are just at that stage where they just don't give a fuck. And they stroll around, like, put a leg up on the bench to dry themselves, and you're like, hey, mate.
People drying their toes gives me the book as well. Oh my God. Sorry, just to throw that in there.
Random reference.
Oh, Jesus. So you go to the gym and someone dried their toes. You're like, oh, mate, do that somewhere else. Sorry. Continue with what you were talking about.
Just taking a turn, man.
So back to Lee and his rugby career, and away from you and your toes.
Sorry.
You kind of mentioned the Commonwealth Games a little bit there. Obviously, you have the rather impressive record of having participated in 4 Commonwealth Games. Is there any amongst the 4 that really stand out to be like the exceptional one, the one that would just be like that was amazing to be part of?
They've all been kind of different in their own right. My wife Charlene would be raging if I didn't say Delhi. I met her in Delhi, so okay, I'll cover that base off early doors. And that was kind of obviously it was my first. I was only just turned professional with Edinburgh, and it was like a few months in that I went to that games, and that kind of came out of nowhere. So that was pretty cool. Like I think probably across the 4, the home games in Glasgow. Like that's one of like playing at Ibrox is probably one of my career highlights, you know, over everything. Like that was really cool to have a packed Ibrox, and I'm there's no football for me it's not a thing, so I'm no either way Rangers, Celtic or anything else, right? But that was pretty cool to be at home games, and it was.
I was there.
Glasgow. Yeah, awesome, eh?
See, we were talking about the naked guys. Was a guy get thrown out before kickoff for just getting.
It was awesome, though. I'd back you on that. They said, and now I'm not a Rangers fan, but it was probably the only good time I've ever had in Ibrox. But I must admit, the atmosphere was jumping. Scotland did quite well. That was awesome. That was probably one of the best rugby atmospheres I've ever had.
Because you guys had a pretty stacked squad for that games, didn't you?
The way they went for it that time, I was looking at the squad recently, and they brought loads of guys in 15s wise. That was they kind of rolled the dice with that a wee bit, and they were like, right, we're going to bring all these guys in and play the tournament. And so we had a good like lead up into it. It was like a 6-week training block, and there was like Mark Bennett came in, Hoggy came in, Richie Vernon was there, Roddy Grant, Sean Lamont played there. Like there was a lot of guys, and to be fair, it almost worked. I think we got beat by New Zealand. They're down to 5 in the last play or something, and I think they got a man on early. We lost the line out. Had we beaten New Zealand, it could have been a different tournament. But that one was a wee bit different in comparison to like this year with Birmingham. We've had a really settled 7 squad, and guys performing well and just stuck with that. And arguably, like again, like a really strong squad. You know, to go down to Birmingham and just on the wrong side of a couple of bits, and but I kind of seen it from both sides a wee bit.
No, that's cool. I mean, we've spoken at a fair bit of length about your 7s career, but it would be foolish of us not to mention your full caps at 15s as well. So was it England you made your debut against? Is that right?
Yeah.
So what was that? I mean, that's probably for any young Scottish guy that's wanting to make it in rugby, your debut against England probably as big as it would get. So what was it like walking out onto the pitch?
That was mad. It all came relatively quick for me as well. Like I'd been at Edinburgh, I think, so that's 2012. I'd been there 2 years, played a lot of rugby, and was playing well, but I never expected even to be in that Scotland squad. And then, right, okay, I'm in a Scotland squad. I was like, right, wow. And then a couple of weeks training camp, and then like, all right, you're starting against England. I was like, I remember saying it at the time, like if you got to choose a debut, like England at Murrayfield would be, you know, like that's up there. That's what you would choose. So unbelievable. And it was like, so you're talking, it was early February, nighttime game at Murrayfield, it was incredible. Like, like an obvious kind of career highlight, and we just lost out as well. I think it was like 13-9 the score or something. It was a really tight game. But like that, it was magic, absolutely magic.
Who was your opposite man for that game then? I'm trying to think who England's wingers were around about then.
I played in the right wing. Chris Ashton was on the. Yeah, I think it was Chris Ashton at the time. Right. Ben Foden was playing full back. Yeah.
All the wee guys say.
Yeah, loads of wee guys playing on the wing.
Yeah. What was so? I guess move fast forward a little bit. Outside of rugby, you've kind of dabbled in the nutrition catering industry with your Prepped. Yeah. What's the story? Was that a kind of a hobby that spilled over into a business, or?
It was a wee bit. Dabble's probably the right word. It came kind of like, I've kind of always been into that side of things, nutrition wise, and that just always been keen on it, and then got into cooking and stuff. And it was one of my mates who actually, he was in the industry himself, and got to know him. And it was when lockdown came about, so and we'd been chatting about a few things, and then it was actually like lockdown pretty much hit, but we'd been talking about this for a long time, and then we were like, right, this is actually a good opportunity just to kind of try this thing out, and we did. So yeah, kind of dabbled about in that for a bit. Off the back of that, now I'm just tying up some studies. I've been doing a course in sports nutrition, so kind of still kind of along that lines, and bits and pieces. But yeah, is that
the plans for post rugby then?
It's it's there. I don't know. I'm not quite set on exactly what I'm going to do after, but like once I get this, like literally within the next month or two, get this tied up and it's done. It's something to look at. Probably not. Potentially not something I'd go into as that's everything, but you know, it's good to kind of have it there, and I've enjoyed kind of learning a lot. Obviously, like being in the environment for so long, I kind of feel like you get a good like you get to work with some great guy. You learn loads through like, you know, being on the receiving end of it. So
yeah.
I feel like I've benefited a lot from that in my career, so it was quite good just to kind of really get into it and kind of, you know, learn a bit more.
Well, I mean, we've still got another Commonwealth Games we can squeeze out you, surely. Before
the boys were talking about that. We were like, we'll just keep this squad and roll them out in 4 years' time. I think they'd literally be rolling me onto the pitch.
You just to learn what a TikTok is, man.
I think that's the dive. But that might be a wee bit of a push. But
it's a bit different to our nutritional philosophy of biscuits per kilometre.
That was it. I mean,
calories in, calories out. Like
it's just maths, man. Like
it's balance.
The problem is that we eat the biscuits, we just don't do the kilometres. That's where we fail.
I don't think we'll say that Lee Jones has endorsed the fact that kilometres is a good idea.
It depends on what kind of biscuit we're talking about as well.
Right.
Oh, now you're talking.
How calorie dense is this biscuit? Like, is there any protein content in the biscuit?
I mean, I'm looking at like the chocolate hobnobs. Yeah.
That's a go-to bit. That's a top.
Yeah, you get a good dunk out of them as well. There's no, you're not going to break into your tea. Do you know what I mean?
They've got like that. They've got oats in them, right? So
so it's
superfood.
Very healthy.
Superfood.
Nothing. No food is bad, right? It's all just balanced. So
You're making me feel so good about my diet right now.
I tell you what, I'm not buying an avocado cookie. I'm telling you now, right now.
Avocado cookie?
I'm telling you now. I don't even try and bring that out because it's not happening. So there's a one bit of advice.
Stick to if you're going to eat a biscuit, eat a proper biscuit.
Exactly.
All about that.
Oh, your wagon wheels, that's your go-to, Ali.
Don't even start, mate.
Jammy wagon wheels.
It's been a day. Yeah, I love a good wagon wheel. So as long as I don't just like one, I like 5.
We had this conversation actually. One of my roommates, Grant Hughes, we had a couple of conversations one night about it. It was like we'd seen something online. It was like the Biscuit World Cup. So we were like running through. So it's all set up, and you've got like round 1 is the hobnob against the Tunnock's tea cake or something, and then they've gone down to the final. And we've like sat for 2 hours one night, not on TikTok, but just talking about the Biscuit World Cup. So that was good.
Who won it?
And he's quite a young guy. I can't actually remember, but I didn't agree with a lot of them, to be honest. I think
I tell you what,
hobnob does quite well. Like
if you had hobnob and tea cake, I'm guessing that wasn't a first round match. That would be like having Spain Italy in the first round.
The thing is, I don't think they had they didn't have like a tea cake. Like it was probably an English thing. Like that's quite.
Oh yeah.
Scottish number.
You want to put them up against like a, would you call it, like, a custard cream?
A rich tea or something. Or
aye, one of those.
Do you not like custard creams?
Aye, but they're not in the same league as a chocolate hobnob.
I know, it's just you had to kind of look at the stain on your face when you said custard cream.
I'll have a look at the stain against anything that's not a chocolate hobnob.
Custard cream or a bourbon or a bourbon biscuit, whatever you call it.
Oh, I see. I'm a chocolate fiend. It's a chocolate bourbon for me, man. I like a bit of chocolate.
I do
the custard.
One of the boys bought a packet of Jammy Dodgers a couple of weeks ago, and I was like,
a weak biscuit, man.
A full packet of Jammy Dodgers, and I was like, that's red flag all over. Like, he's like, do you want one? I was like, no, if I'm going to eat a biscuit, I'm not going to choose the Jammy Dodger. Terrible.
No, Jammy Dodgers is out.
Yeah.
Plus, they don't give you enough jam in them either. It's like total false advertising. You see that wee red dot, and you go, here we go, and you eat it, and it's literally that red dot. The rest is just
biscuit.
There's chocolate Jammy Dodgers now. I seen that in Morrison's the other day. So you actually, I think it's the same amount of chocolate as there is jam. So I don't know.
Actually on that, have you seen you get different flavours of Jaffa cakes now?
Really?
Aye. You get the pineapple ones.
It's pineapple. There's like there's a purple packet and
blackcurrant.
There's lime ones and all sorts. Man.
I used to eat Jaffa cakes by like the packet load. I remember when I was younger, and like it was one of these things that. Do you know it had like a sort of thing about it, like, oh, it's good for if you play sport, like eat Jaffa cakes, eat pasta and eat Jaffa cakes. So I eat 6 Jaffa cakes before going down to the gym, sort of thing. So my views on that have probably changed a wee bit doing this nutrition stuff, but Jaffa cakes good. I've not had a Jaffa cakes for ages.
Yeah.
And a massive calorie deficit for holiday, man, and this chat's killing me, man.
Exactly. I know. That's
why I'm so into it. I'm like, then what did you have?
This is like porn for you right now.
Eat it slower.
What was your next biscuit? Tell me, getting closer to the screen.
Anyway, before this gets way too creepy. Right, enough. Yeah. So Lee, what we'll do now is we'll go into the competitive side of things, and we'll jump into our zeros and heroes. So we will each give you 1 0 and 1 hero. You can decide who the winner is of said zero and hero. So we'll just go in turns. So as our guest, you decide, would you like the zeros first or would you like the heroes first?
Let's go zeros first.
Zeros first. Let's get the baddies out of the way. So, Gemmel, do you want to lead us off on your zero of the week?
I certainly can. So my zero of the week is the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have been following the story about Deshaun Watson.
Oh, this the guy
now Cleveland Browns quarterback.
Yeah.
So he basically got accused of it was over 20 accusations of what they're calling sexual misconduct, and he has just had his ban has been confirmed now. I think he was originally only given like a 2-game ban, and then that got appealed against by the league or something. They've given him an 11-game ban and but a $5 million fine. So you've got to assume there's some level of guilt there if he's getting that kind of ban and fine. Yet a player last year got banned for the full season for while he was out injured gambling on games that his team were involved with and he could have no impact on. Another guy who got banned for cannabis use, which is legal across America, has been banned for like multiple seasons. But then you've got a guy who's gone through the courts for all this stuff is only getting a half-season ban. And other guys that have been done for domestic abuse have had like 4-game bans, 5-game bans. It just seems a bit out of sorts and a bit of a strange message to send that these guys are only getting these short bans, whereas someone who had a little bet gets a full season. So
was it the Houston Texans? They settled the thing for him as well. Like he didn't have to pay it. Like the team paid his.
They settled the civil suit so that they could punt him on to someone else.
That's crazy.
It just seems mad, the message it sends out, because you got loads of kids that look up to these guys, and they see someone that's done a bit of gambling as getting more punishment than someone like Deshaun Watson. So yeah, Goodell's my 0 of the week until he sorts himself out in his league.
So, Martin James.
I want to keep mine short and sweet. And this was actually a couple of months ago, but I totally forgot to use him the last time, and it's too good a story for me not to use this guy. I was going to go down the politics route. I'm going to go down the politics route, but I was going to go down the serious stuff, but it depressed me. So I'm going for this guy, Neil Harris, who is an MP that is he's resigned as an MP because he got caught watching porn in the House of Commons.
Oh, no way.
So sitting on the benches, get caught. But it was the fact that, and this guy, he's a bad egg. Like he was voting against same-sex marriage and everything, just your typical, like just closed blinker view. But it was the fact that his excuse was he said he was trying to find a page about tractors. That was so. Never mind the fact that he's in the House of Commons where our lives are decided, and he's on his phone. Like, well, forget that, and that he's on the phone. But yeah, the guy, it was just, I wanted to keep it light, and the guy, you can't get away with that, man. It's just, he's a baddie, so plus he absolutely hates hobnobs, so fuck him.
That's a pretty random excuse to get caught like that. Hey, tractors.
That was his excuse, man.
That's what like a 14-year-old boy would say. I was trying to find tractors and I found this porn stuff. I don't know how it happened.
It auto-corrected to tits. I don't know what happened.
Anyway, Ali, what have you got for us?
Okay, so mine is the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, also known as PETA, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, they have put a request in with the Leicester Council to rename a roundabout that is currently called Pork Pie Roundabout. So they want to change
Middle
it.
England, man.
So they want to change it to Vegan Roundabout.
Oh, jeez.
So I swear.
Roundabout.
So apparently, but they said that the reason for it is to the word vegan was apparently coined in Leicester in 1944, and they say that it would be part of the tradition and celebrate the city's pie-loving culture or heritage. Sorry. So, but the reason that this roundabout is called Pork Pie Roundabout is apparently there's a library right opposite, and as an aerial view, it looks like a pork pie. So the reasons that they're the 0 of the week is the complete waste of fucking time that this must be, that some dummy has sat down and gone, do you know, this would be a good idea to change this name of a roundabout to Vegan Roundabout or whatever he wants to call it. So not only is he wasting his time and he should be doing something better with his life, he's having to waste council people's time that they actually have to read this fucking letter. So that's a load of shite. Absolutely not. Go listen. So they're my 0 of the week.
Decent.
So
That's a good
Lee,
one, actually.
you hit us with it.
They're all pretty bad, aren't they? The first two probably a lot heavier than the last.
I don't know, watching porn in Wild is particularly heavy. I know.
Just in the, not that I agree with any of that, by the way, just I reckon to keep it light-hearted, I'm going to go with the roundabout.
Yes, that's my first point in fucking 20 episodes or something. Right.
To be fair, I'd have picked the roundabout out of those 3 as well.
I've ordered your
That's
poster
fucking
already.
ridiculous.
You're going up on the wall, right next to Rui Jackson. You're going right. So in fact, I might just put you slightly higher than him actually, because he didn't pick me. So anyway, right, let's go. Let's end it on a proper high, and let's go for the heroes. So we'll go. In fact, we'll go reverse order. I'm going first.
Because you can pick.
So yeah, that's it. I'm the boss here. So mine is it's a company / app called Too Good To Go. So the company was founded in Denmark, established in 2015. Now their goal was to reduce food waste. So they've linked in restaurants and stores that have surplus food, and then they sell it off at a quarter of the price, or sorry, a third of the price. So you go into the app, you can pick what you want. Now it's not a lot of choice in it, but they give you an array of food. So I like this for two reasons. One, obviously, restaurants selling surplus food, there's no food waste, less packaging, because it's also like stores like M&S and things. Minnie, why do you look so confused?
I'm pretty sure that I've used this before.
Have you thought?
Or something very similar. Continue. I'm not going to call it. I'm just anyway.
Just your look, your face is starting to annoy me. So I'll listen to all the podcast back again and we'll find out. But anyway,
hurry up.
Okay, go for it. So not only do I like it because of the food waste and stuff like that, in the current economical crisis that of people struggling to pay bills and mortgages and everything like that, this allows families to go and actually buy good food, healthy food at a third of the price, and so it's doing good for everybody. And to date, they have 58 million users and 139 million meals have been sold. So they're doing a good job. So they're my heroes.
Very good.
Decent.
I'm actually going to follow down that route. And it's not a great thing, but we shouldn't be in this situation, but we are. But I'm going to go for the MD of Iceland, who they've just added interest-free loans to families so that they can actually afford to buy their shopping because they don't actually have money and they can pay it back over a really wide period of time. Given the fact that people are in a state just now when they can't afford to eat is horrendous, but they're trying to do something to try and help them out. But they've also introduced discounts for over 60s so that they can get their shopping as well. So I thought, given that everyone seems to be grabbing for as much money as possible, it's nice to see a kind of big company trying to give something back. So yeah, him, Richard Walker, he's my hero.
Okay. Johnny?
I've got slightly different. Mine's an individual. A young 18-year-old lifeguard in Colorado who, while she was on duty at her swimming pool, a couple came in. The wife was heavily pregnant, but the pool was one of the places that she could go to feel okay because she was at that kind of latter stages of pregnancy. She'd been there 5 minutes, got out of the pool, waters broke, and this young 18-year-old lassie had to, on the phone to the paramedics, get talked through delivering the baby, making sure the airway was clear, all this sort of stuff. And for an 18-year-old to actually stay calm enough to be on the phone and do all that, I mean, I've been there and witnessed it happening twice, and that was plenty, never mind actually having to do it as an 18-year-old. So yeah, I thought that was just incredible for her to actually step up and do that. So big tip of the cap to her.
What was her name?
Her name is Natalie Lucas. And you can
find
you can find the article on theweek.com.
I will, because you seem to come up with all these weird fucking heroes.
There you go.
Was the baby born poolside?
Poolside, yeah. The paramedics couldn't get there in time, so they were on the phone.
Is it fair to say it was a water baby? Anyway, I think I've just lost myself the hero of the week.
Right.
Points off for that pun.
Don't be swayed by his, pulling at the heartstring stuff. So, you just make your decision. Don't let anybody influence you.
I've got to go 3 heroes, by the way. Aye, respect. Iceland, that's quality.
Oh, not one. Cool.
And the third place goes to.
Thanks for playing the award.
Delivering a baby by the poolside, man. That's
got to be top quality. So send me that app that you keep using there, Gimel, because you came out with some sort of bullshit last time. So right.
Don't be bitter, man.
What do you Google to find?
I know exactly.
I googled good news. at about 6:10 tonight.
Oh, what did I googled? Something like, was it?
What's Minnie used as a hero before?
You're funny. What was it called? Oh, I can't even remember. But it just came up with a movie. It was like some Scottish-based movie. It was come to, I can't remember what it's called.
Right.
It's a terrible story. So we're gonna flip it. So focus is going to be back on you now, Lee. So we're going to hit you with our speed round, and because you've got the eyes for the tries and the speed, so we are going to hit you. So it's just 10. I'm going to say simple questions, depending on your. Well, in fact, you've got a bachelor's degree in engineering, so your intelligence level is probably right up there. So.
A long time ago.
You good to go?
Let's go.
Go for it. Right. What is your favorite holiday destination?
I'd go Italy. Anywhere in Italy, yeah.
What's your biggest fear or phobia?
TikTok.
Either baked beans or tomato sauce.
Really?
What? That's the most random one we've heard.
Like, that is
a full-on. Like folks say, I'm like I don't like it, but I'm like, nah. It's actually like I hate it. It's probably virgin on phobia. Like
my dad is exactly the same. He hates tomato sauce. Like he actually hits you in the back of the head if you put it on any food. Like he hates it. So you're the second person I've ever met that.
Well, I found a few like because it's quite often a topic of conversation. I'm like, I never thought anybody else was the same. I've got a handful of people.
We support group.
I'll send him your way. He's a total pain in the ass. So.
It's like, hey guys, anyone else totally hating beans today?
What's that?
Booking a table at a restaurant. Any dietary requirements? Please remove tomato ketchup from the table.
Like, when you order, like if you order a full breakfast, I have to like no beans, please, no beans.
No beans.
And the good places, you get to swap it for someone else, but often just that no worries.
He was this weird guy. Actually, I thought he was the only one. To be fair, I've criticised him and slagged him for years for that. So, anyway, sorry. Speed round. Favorite drink?
Coffee.
Okay. Do you prefer a text or a call?
I'm going to say call.
What would be your alternative career?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not going to say engineer. I'm probably not going to say sports nutritionist.
Yeah, go for something wild.
If you could do anything.
Can we work in a biscuit factory? Then?
Oh,
yes,
I've been in the Tunnocks factory. It's a great place.
I don't even eat that many biscuits.
The smell, honestly, it's the best smelling place ever is the Tunnocks factory. Love it.
Biscuit guy, okay.
Don't even eat that many biscuits.
You could be the biscuit rep, contributing to the global obesity that we have. Anyway, who's your favorite superhero?
Oh, I'm shit with superheroes. I need like the ones that spring to my mind, like Batman and Superman. Like no interest in them two. Like who else have we got?
Thor.
Hulk smash.
Nah.
Iron Man.
Wolverine count as a superhero?
Wolverine.
Yeah,
Wolverine.
100%.
Wolverine. I think the rest of them are all just a wee bit boring. So
That's a debut for Wolverine, by the way.
It is well done. It's first time. Okay. If you had to invite 3 people to a dinner party, dead or alive, who would you invite?
I hate these questions.
I
hate the speed. I'm like, I'm going to message you in a couple of days and be like,
redo the whole podcast.
Right.
It's got to be who comes to mind. Now, I will say that we've had Jesus at this table. I think we had God as well.
Frank Sinatra's been there.
Frank Sinatra. So we've had them all.
Billy Connolly, we've had him.
You need somebody funny, right? So, who's funny? Let's go Jim Carrey because he's a bit weird as well, right? And he's quite funny.
He'd be good for you.
Someday, right? Food-wise, critique food. I'm going to say so. Maybe a Gordon Ramsay.
Okay, yeah.
and right.
It's a pretty lively table so far.
I know.
Let's go right. Sport. Someone in sport. Even though I don't really like sport that much, I don't feel. Right. Let's go. We need somebody dead as well, right?
No.
It doesn't have
It's
to.
all
I
right.
do.
Yeah.
Just for like.
Oh, just
I'm trying to
Ticking-
narrow down my decision process.
ticking
So
quotas.
let's choose somebody dead and choose somebody that's sportsman. So let's say
dead sportsman.
a dead
There's
sportsman.
loads of them, but
Let's choose a sport. Sportsman.
Muhammad Ali.
Jerry
Dead, isn't he?
Collins.
No,
Jerry
actually,
Collins.
I'm gonna go back to the living and say Mike Tyson.
Oh,
Oh,
aye.
That's a pretty good table.
I would come back to it. It's a shame that your wife's not getting invited, but
Who knew Mike Tyson, Gordon Ramsay, and who's the first
Jim
one?
Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Nice.
That's all right. So, would it be young Mike Tyson or would it be Mike Tyson now?
Let's go now. Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's good. Young Mike Tyson, I think, would be pretty.
Yeah.
roll the dice.
Yeah.
Might
You're
get
gonna have
pretty
to get
loose
the-
with young Mike.
Mike in his prime, maybe.
Yeah. So,
Does he get to bring his tiger?
What's-
okay. So this is where it heats up now a little bit. So we've got your thinking caps on. So stranded on a desert island.
Oh no.
What 3 items are you taking and why?
It's another one I want to think about a lot because we're going to try and be fast. See, I start thinking about these things and I'm like, right, well, I need to try and get someone to get off the island, right? Or are you just enjoying your time on the island? Like,
Just enjoying your time. Just enjoying your time on the island.
enjoying your time on the island. For fuck's sake.
A passing boat will get you eventually.
Right. This is a real hard question, by the way.
Isn't it? I can't even, like,
To be
I
fair,
can't think of-
To do
I
the
don't
dinner
like
party and this one back to back is tough.
I know. Sorry, I've got an easy one next.
the longest speed round. That
It's alright, but through the power of editing, it will get quicker.
nice. Okay, and I'll just be like, bang, bang, bang. How do you think of them so far? Right, well, I'm not going to take anything. I don't want to take my phone or anything. That's you're on a desert island for a reason. So,
So much thought's going into this, man.
much thought.
like
I wish I didn't think about it. I wish I could just say it. But,
So you start. What 3 items do you want on a desert island?
let's take like a Rubik's Cube. You could learn how to do the Rubik's Cube out there.
Oh,
Spending your time wisely.
We're using the time like. What about?
I have to take a gun with me to blow my brains out trying to learn that. So
Maybe like someone to draw with or write with. So like
Paper and pen and all that.
etch a sketch.
Etch a sketch would be good, aye. That's another story. Etch a sketch, Rubik's Cube, and let's take something to cook with, like a frying pan or something that we can cook with. Because we'll obviously make a fire and then
This is class because I can actually just see in your head. You've actually seen. You've got this picture of the island. You know who's there. You know what you're going to do. This is class. Okay.
that'll fill my time.
Aye.
Sounds good. Right.
Quick fire.
Favorite box set.
Box set. I don't own many box sets, but I'm going to say I don't own this box set, but 24.
oh yeah,
Jack Bauer.
that's belter.
Yeah.
Right. And last question is: if you had a boat, what would you name it? You may have a boat now,
Just
but
off the top of your head.
go for it. What would be your boat?
It's got to be a pun in there somewhere. So let's go. Be seeing you with an SEA.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
Well played.
That's the educated man right there. That is an educated man. So that was the most well thought out speed round we ever had. So I'm going to give you 10 out of 10. Even though it wasn't speedy, it was well thought out. So you passed, Lee. You passed.
The other name you could get for that boat should be thighs and tries, man. That could be an absolute
that stresses me out.
It's better than some of the desert island have been like a phone, a charger, and something else. Yeah, what the fuck are you plugging your charger into?
You're on your phone all the time. You don't want to be on TikTok and
guys, I'm on an island. Give me cut my hand off. Oofed.
Is that not what 127 hours?
Yeah, that's it. I know. A frying pan has multiple uses. You could dig, beat animals over with it. So,
Rubik's Cube.
Tennis.
Tennis. Well done. Show me tennis again there, Gil.
You could.
Okay.
I've got a mean forehand.
You could collect anything. You can
this is it, Like you could do like cycling for gold, even though it doesn't have gold in it.
Filtration for water as well.
Yeah. So, well thought out. But Lee, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Honestly, it's been great chatting, and thanks very much for coming on. All the best with everything that you've got going in the future. Gail's got one more.
Back bar playlist.
Oh yeah.
That we've been gradually putting together on Spotify. We've been asking all our guests to give us their go-to tune, whether it's your go-to chill out one or your get yourself pumped up kind of tune. What would be your?
Okay. I'm gonna go on the Sevens boy. Listen to this a lot. It's a Scottish band, Rura. Have you heard of them?
Not yet.
It's like pretty like Scottish folk music sort of thing, but they've got a couple of. There's two tunes. Catrionas is one of them, and the other one is called. So I'd probably go with that one. What's the other one called? Day One is the other one. I know that's two songs, but
we can make an exception.
Rura, Rura. Catrionas is a good tune. Fiddle and pipes, and it's it makes you feel Scottish.
Okay,
that's a debut as well. So yeah, nice one. So between the catch-up and the new songs and everything, and you
learned a lot tonight.
You have.
We have.
You've educated the world there, Lee. But again, honestly, thank you so much. It's really appreciated.
My pleasure.
It's been a good laugh.
Yeah. Good luck for everything in the future, and hope all goes well.
See you at Commonwealth Games 2026.
Nice
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Lee. Thanks so much, mate.
Take care, mate.
Thanks,
Thank you. What a nice gentleman.
I'm a fan. I'm not going to lie.
Yep. Also,
good lad.
Measured, thinks things through, unlike us.
I know.
First thing that Des Island, I'd like rum.
I know. He's cut from a different cloth. He's measured. I'm too stupid. I just go in there, crash like a bull, and then make the decisions afterwards. So all the decisions, I've just thrown it out the window. I'm like, I need to go find them.
That beans thing, that's a weird one. But
beans and ketchup, man.
Who am I to judge?
So the thing is, beans. Yeah. So I must admit, I'm not big on ketchup, but I'm not nowhere near a phobia or anything big, but. Yes. Each to their own, I suppose.
Well, it's good that a guy that's in such peak physical condition also has an absolute love for likes to discuss biscuits, man. That's
see, that's misleading though. See, I hate that though when someone that's fit and in shape likes biscuits. So I go, well, I eat biscuits. And how am I not in shape? As I've probably guzzled half a bottle of wine and stuff like that, and he's drinking water. So
I had half a sleeve of crunch creams tonight. How have I not got a 6-pack? He loves biscuits as well.
I know. I see. It's so misleading. I hate it when people go, "Oh yeah, I go drinking every weekend. I've got a 6-pack." But really, is that?
So I mean, it's right. I had a fucking Weight Watchers penny bolognese tonight. I'm doing the 18 to 6 diet when you don't eat for 18 hours a day. I'm at a calorie deficit of 1,500 calories today. I don't have a 6-pack. Family pack.
Is that Is that a wee Huel drink you're on as well?
No, this is actually product placement. This is actually a Spartan protein for all your protein workout needs.
Friends of the podcast.
Oh yes.
A friend of mine. Whatever. Good guy.
What's the Biscoff protein? Highly recommend the Biscoff protein.
The pre-workout, the cherry cola stuff. I swear to God, my scalp was tingling when I took it.
So yeah, I think that must come with a warning because that will give you feelings of that things you're going south.
Maybe that was a different shop in the. The stuff at Spartan Protein is pretty handy if you want to get down there. The thing is, Stuart didn't even ask us to say anything about this, and we're bombing up his business. So
I know he's a good lad, though.
That is good gear. Anyway, right, another episode in the bank, guys. Another one done and dusted.
What was he just got the fit giggles about?
Where did you get the giggles about?
I couldn't fit it in, guys. I wanted to fit the thing in, so I'm just going to say it, right? I see on Twitter that someone was talking about Jacob Rees-Mogg. What's his name? Jacob Rees-Mogg? Aye, that big idiot. And it was a Scottish guy that described him on Twitter as a big daft Victorian dildo. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard. It's brilliant, man. So
that's got to be on like a Scottish banter website.
Oh man, honestly, it killed me.
Did you see that the video that was flying about social media the other day? It was the American guy doing a TikTok video, and he's like, "Hey, this is me in Edinburgh," and then you just hear this voice going, "It's Edinburgh, you prick," and then he just goes, "What?" And you just hear the voice going, "Fuck up."
It's a welcoming nation, eh?
That's hilarious. It was a wee fuck up at the end, but it absolutely killed me.
Oh dear.
Some guys like, and the locals here are so friendly.
Here I am in Edinburgh. It's Edinburgh, you prick. Fuck up.
Nice.
On that note, thanks again for listening. We will say goodbye rather than the Edinburgh fuck up. So, thank you so much. We love you all.
Been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Hundy P, later.
Yeah, see you later.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye bye.